Millions died. Nations shattered. History made. Let's see what you know about World War II. Who was the Japanese admiral behind the Pearl Harbor attack? Isoroku Yamamoto. What does VE stand for in World War II? Victory in Europe. What was the code name for Germany's invasion of the Soviet Union? Operation Barbarossa. Which country used this flag during World War II? Japan. Which battle is considered the largest tank battle in history? Battle of Kursk. In what year did France declare war on Germany? 1939. What was the second city the United States dropped a nuclear bomb on? Nagasaki. Which country suffered the highest number of military deaths in World War II? Soviet Union. Which country was invaded by Germany on September 1st, 1939, starting World War II? Poland. What was the main fighter aircraft used by Britain in the Battle of Britain? Spitfire. Like the video if you answered half or more correct in the first 10. Who became the British Prime Minister in 1940 and led Britain through World War II? Winston Churchill. Which U.S. president made the decision to drop atomic bombs on Japan? Harry S. Truman. What was the Nazi secret police called? Gestapo. Which conference in 1945 set the groundwork for post-war Europe? Yalta Conference. What was Hitler's first military invasion? Austria. What battle marked Germany's final major offensive in the West? Battle of the Bulge. Which country was not part of the Axis powers? Spain. What was the name of the project that developed the atomic bomb? Manhattan Project. What country did Germany sign a non-aggression pact with in 1939? Soviet Union. Who led the Free French forces during World War II? Charles de Gaulle. Which amphibious invasion was codenamed Operation Overlord? D-Day. Which city suffered the first ever atomic bomb attack? Hiroshima. What German battleship was sunk in May 1941? Bismarck. What brutal death march occurred after the fall of the Philippines? Bataan Death March. Which group was primarily targeted during the Holocaust? Jews. Halfway through, how are you doing so far? Who was the Italian dictator during World War II? Benito Mussolini. What was Japan's main motivation for entering World War II? Oil and resources. What was the name of Germany's Air Force? Luftwaffe. Which scientist urged Roosevelt to develop nuclear weapons? It's Leo Szilard, but he persuaded Einstein to sign it only because Einstein's reputation would get the president's attention. What African battle saw the British defeat Rommel's forces? El Alamein. Who were the Axis powers? Germany, Italy, and Japan. Which concentration camp was the largest? Auschwitz. At its peak, it held over 100,000 prisoners and saw the murder of roughly 1.1 million people. What did the Night of Broken Glass refer to? How did Adolf Hitler die? Suicide. Which British city was bombed heavily in the Blitz? It's London. They endured the heaviest bombing during the Blitz. What was the name of the Japanese suicide attacks? Kamikaze. Who commanded the Allied forces on D-Day? Dwight Eisenhower. Which battle is considered the turning point in the Pacific War? Midway. What was the main purpose of the Nuremberg trials? Punish war crimes. Which Soviet city endured one of the longest and deadliest sieges? Leningrad. What weapon was codenamed Fat Man? The atomic bomb dropped on Nagasaki. Who famously said, "We shall never surrender"? Churchill. Which Axis power switched sides in 1943? Italy. Where did the largest naval battle in history take place? Battle of Leyte Gulf, fought in the waters off Leyte Island in the Philippines. What was the German defensive line in France called? Siegfried Line. Which Japanese city was not bombed with atomic weapons? Tokyo. What major event pulled the U.S. into World War II? The surprise Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. What agreement gave Hitler part of Czechoslovakia in 1938? The Munich Agreement. Who led Nazi Germany's SS and Gestapo? Heinrich Himmler. Which city hosted the 1945 conference between Stalin, Churchill, and Roosevelt? Yalta. That's all 50 questions. How many did you get right? Let us know in the comments and subscribe for more daily quizzes.